lot of guys, as they're going through their marriage struggles, or it seems like their marriage is about to fall apart, struggle with isolation, doing it on their own, loneliness, feeling like their situation is very unique or very painful, wondering where to go, where to get help, what type of help. And I think it's really helpful to have somebody like you share your experience, because you're middle of it, Isaiah, right? We didn't present this as, let's see what Isaiah did to transform his marriage and like happily ever after. You are very much in the midst of turning it around. And I think there's a lot of help when somebody steps up and says, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm up to. Who knows how many people are going to be touched by what you're about to share.
Yeah, obviously my name, Isaiah Ulrich. I am from Indianapolis, Indiana area. Born and raised in Indiana-ish. Grew up in a big family, very religious on the realm of a Christian aspect. My wife and I have been married since 2017, so it'll be 7 years this May. I have 2 young kids. I have an almost 5-year-old daughter and almost a 3-year-old son, and they mean the world to me. I work in sales. I'm a real estate agent by my day job, and of course a dad and a husband as well. So just a quick glimpse of who I am in general.
And if guys can get a snapshot, let's say somebody was following you, what would they see about what was going on in your life, in your marriage, in your mind? Give us a little bit of an idea of what was Isaiah going through before you joined AMFT.
I was just going through the motions of being a dad and being a busy entrepreneur. I'm a workaholic. I've been blessed with a great work ethic, which has helped me in my career be successful as a businessman. Having a good work ethic is a good characteristic to have. If you were to know me in those months, I'm big on working. I work a lot, like I said, but I'm also big on spending time and having fun with family. And then, of course, there's a lot of personal life stuff that no one knew about until I got into the program and started sharing things that I believe have disturbed my marriage.
Yeah, what was going on or not going on in the marriage leading up to you reaching out for help?
There was nothing there. I was just going through the motions of living a busy life with 2 young kids, helping my wife parent the kids, and just not spending a lot of time with her just because we were busy. So it was more of, at that time, I was blind of it because I was trying to support the family, trying to help raise the kids, so on and so forth.
When you say blind, what do you mean? Blind to what?
Blind to any potential issues in the marriage.
And how did you find out that there was an issue?
The D-bomb was dropped on me, and I was like, I got to figure this out. I don't know why.
She drops the D-bomb. When was it?
It was August 2nd, 23.
And at that time, if I recall correctly, you were already signed up in another marriage transformation program, correct? Or close?
I was close because I saw some signs, and I'm like, something ain't right. So I need to figure out what I can do to be a better husband.
So you saw some signs before she dropped the D-bomb.
Yeah. I noticed some behaviors that I didn't like, and for some reason I felt weird about addressing them. Just flirtatious behaviors with other men, specifically one guy that I saw via text, and seeing her smile just by that interaction with that specific individual, or that emotion via a text message. And I wasn't getting that from her. So what am I doing wrong? Like, why is there nothing there?
In the interest of full transparency, Isaiah joined actually another marriage help program before he came to Amazing Marriage Fast Track. We're just going to call it AMFT. It seems, if I'm putting this together, you didn't join that program until she already dropped the D-bomb, correct?
Right.
So you joined that program, you put your heart into it. I believe there was a significant financial investment over there as well. And what happened? You put your time into it, you put your money into it, and it seems like you put your heart into it. So let's put it this way, okay? In short, like, you were there. What were you getting from there, or not getting from there, and what made you feel, hey, you need some more help?
So all the stuff, there was a lot of good things in that program, and to be honest with you, it was not the first program I saw and the first program I went with. Right, I did my research, whether it was actual online programs as such, local counseling, books, YouTube videos. There's a lot of things out there that one might be able to use to help them. I knew I needed help. Didn't know how much help yet. But that program was To me personally, I didn't feel like there was a strategy that catered to what I felt comfortable with. There's a lot of good content. I'm not going to be negative toward another program because I don't think that's nice, but it just wasn't grasping my heart. Just wasn't grabbing it. There was no, that makes sense. Oh my gosh, that made me think. Now I'm like, the pieces weren't coming together. It was just driving down the road this way and then driving down the road this way, and kind
Well,
of.
by the way, what you just said now is very important, and like I said, it's one of those things that I wouldn't know until I hear you explain it. And I
Mhm.
think it's very important for guys to understand what you just said. As guys go through the marriage transformation process, one of the big mistakes they can make is by just not allowing the pieces to come together. In other words, by just following mechanically a process or a program or a strategy without on their own integrating the pieces and understanding how they work together. And I think what I say, I think that's brilliant what you just pointed out, because that is actually critical and key in the first step of transforming a marriage, or better said, before you start transforming a marriage, you actually
Mhm.
have to understand what went wrong, and that's the process of bringing the pieces together, like you said, to understand. 1 second, how does this work with this? How come it didn't work? Why did my effort over here not work? Why were these words back? Why were they backfiring on me? Why did this make my wife think this? That is
Mhm.
actually key, and it's so important for guys to get this. There are some decent programs that teach you some pretty good things that, in theory, may have worked really well if you never had a real marriage challenge, if you applied it from day one in your marriage. But when you have marriage cancer or severe marriage challenge that went on for a period of time, it's not enough to just go back to what you should have done on day one of your marriage. You have to go back to understanding why your efforts to fix it didn't work either. And that's an important piece. What made you reach out to AMFT or explore working together with me in AMFT, that made something that gave you a sense of, okay, 1 second, this is different. This may be something that I need.
So honestly, a lot of prayer. Like I said earlier, I'm a devout Christian, and obviously my world was falling apart, right? And when we don't know what to do, what do we do as Christians? We reach out to God and pray, and maybe even reach out to spiritual counsel and all that jazz. And it took a lot. I'm like, God, I'm not getting anything out of this program. I don't know what to do. I know for a fact, as I was doing research for these other programs, I know David's program was there. I just didn't pick it up for some reason. And then so I revisited what I was researching. I'm like, let me try this program out. And then of course had the interview and it just clicked. Even I would have forced myself, no, I don't want to be in this program. It just clicked, and I know
When you
what that
say when you
was.
say it clicked, is it just a spiritual? Is it a spiritual thing? Because I relate to what you're saying. I'm Jewish, right? And I also pray when I get stuck. And so on that sense, in a spiritual sense, we're very similar, right? The religious
Right.
faiths are different, but
Mhm.
at the spiritual core, the principle of reaching out for guidance. And sometimes I get guidance, and I can't really explain why I got that guidance, right? So my
Right.
question for you was, when you had the click, the clarity, okay, this is for me. Was it just purely a spiritual thing? Or was it there's some logical clarity or insights, an aha moment that your prayer gave you that told you, okay, man, I really got to do this?
It, a little bit of both. It was, this is what I want you to do. And when we pray for something and the Spirit tells us that it's the right thing to do, we got to have a lot of faith. That's the right thing to do. Obviously, this is a program that I don't, in our interview, I get a little bit of grasp of what it's going to look like. But until you get into it, right, and the way the Spirit moved through me through the whole program, it's just, I knew I made the right decision just by my growth in the program, my growth as I put the practical aspect into play.